Hey guys, welcome back to Vertical Momentum. I'm your host, Richard Kaufman, also known as the Comeback Coach. Guys, this is a very, very special interview for me. This gentleman's been a friend of mine for years. My very first student, my star pupil is doing amazing, kicking butt, helping people getting their VA disability benefits. So if you're a veteran, and you're struggling with getting your VA disability benefits, this is the episode for you. My brother is also, he's a veteran, he's a business owner, so we're going to talk a little bit of business. We're going to be talking a little VA disability. So guys, get a cup of coffee, sit back, relax. This is going to be the best 45 minutes of your life. Jerome, my brother, welcome
Yes,
to the
sir.
show. How are you?
Man, blessed, very blessed to be here and to be here just to run my mouth about business, VA disability, and all in between. Let's get it.
I love it. So my first question right off the get is, what is your definition of resiliency?
When I think about that, in order for you to be resilient, that means you have to have obstacles. That means there has to be something that has challenged you, that has knocked you down and brings you back. And to be resilient is the strength that you find that you build within in order to punch through those things that have caused through those obstacles that will make you win. And within that resiliency is the growth that happens. When I think about an apple tree or any type of fruit, right? How do we get our fruit? It comes from a tree, but that tree grows. You cannot have growth. You cannot produce fruit without growth. So resilience is all about the opportunity that you have to grow and learn in order to produce fruit. And that fruit can be given back to your community, given back to others, and being of service. So resiliency, when you talk about that, that's a big bucket that we can unpack. But there's a lot in there that involves the struggle, appreciating the struggle, and then working through that struggle. Think about a blade of grass. You take a seed, put it in the ground, put some fertilizer on it, water it. It has to go through all that dirt to break through to develop a green shoot. That in itself is a struggle, but now it's producing benefits. It is resilient. So that's my definition of it.
I love it. And before we get started, I really want to give a big shout out. If it wasn't for Lisa Hearing, we would have never gotten together. We would have never met. We would have never got into business together. And I also want to give a big shout out to Celsius Energy Drinks. Thank you for keeping me energized all day long. Thank you, Celsius. I appreciate you. So give us a quick down and dirty who you are, where'd you come from, and a little bit about your military service.
Sure. So before I begin, let me just Lisa Herring is, like you said, is the SSDI guru, and I'm very thankful to have met her and our paths have intersected. So who am I? I hail from the great state of Pennsylvania. I'm originally from Philadelphia, and the son of two ministers. My mother and father were both ministers. And at this stage, coming from Philadelphia, I have a very mosaic background, a very mosaic career. Worked on Wall Street, was there in 9/11, decided to, as I was an investment banker, and then decided to pursue nursing as one of my family members suggested, like, you should do that. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Why? Well, because my interest in science and also helping people, but then also the business side allowed me to explore it as a new career, and then decided to join the Army. I was prior service Air Force back in '95 when I was in college. But then when I went to nursing school, here comes the recruiters saying, hey, do you want to join again? The Air Force guy said, can you drop 90? The Army guy said, can you drop 5? The Air Force guy said, we'll give you a bonus of 10,000. The Army guy said, we'll give you a bonus of 90,000. And do you want to take out more? And so I found myself, signing up for the Army, and then went over to Germany, at the height of both wars and took care of soldiers, uh, contractors, Marines, there at Lonsdale Regional Medical Center. And that's where I believe for me the drive to help others, specifically beyond clinical, like taking like nursing, like taking care of patients, but just seeing that those service members, some of them did not know that they were going to be going through a medical board simply because of all of the different types of things that they've experienced and the camaraderie that they had and the spirit of the core that they had, which was I'm still going back down range when my arms and legs are broke or are blown off. That type of situation of being able to take care of those heroes allowed me to understand that they have some challenges when they get out. So anyway, long story short, I went through a medical board myself. I know what that feels like. I know how hard you have to fight for it. I know how hard you have to explain your medical history to a doctor, to a CNP examiner, to the rater who may never meet you and invite you for coffee. I know how hard that is. And so I decided to, take my journey, take my path when I retired, because my wife said, you can't just sit around, bro. You got to work. And decided to help other veterans win their particular cases. And so as of right now, I am celebrating a year of being accredited with the VA to adjudicate, or not to adjudicate, but to represent veterans in front of the VA legally, right? And able to do that. And it's just an honor and a pleasure to do that for a group that is so near and dear to me. So,
So let's talk about your experience going through the med board process,
mhm.
and talk about what it was like getting out of the military. Because, like Sergeant Nick said on one of my shows, that the military doesn't give a shit about you. Once you step off base, um, you lose your camaraderie. A lot of us, we didn't do 20 years, so we're not going to get any pay or anything like that, and you lose your mission. And
Mhm.
so, tell us about your experience going through the med board and what it was like after getting out.
Okay, so the med board, like I said, went through the med board through the Army. It is a mental, legal, financial Charlie Foxtrot. it is a it is it's an experience where you feel like you're alone, but you're not, but you are. You have your lawyer that is supposedly on your side. You have a VSO or a VA liaison who is supposedly on your side. But really, through that, my experience, it was I was the only one that was on my side. I had to advocate for myself. And so what I mean by that is understanding, I had to understand the laws and the regulations just like the lawyer did. I had to understand what conditions would be considered, right? All of my conditions, I want the Army to look at all of my conditions and have them considered to be evaluated for the medical board process. It is a very time consuming situation, but it is a one where you have to advocate and be in the front seat, not the back seat, not the trunk. Like you are, the Army's driving the bus, but you're up front and you're saying, no, 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 no. Here we go. My conditions, I believe that my conditions should be evaluated for this, for a medical board because of the regulations that state, right? You have to be so much of your own advocate, not only from the Army side or from the military side, not only from the military side, but from the VA side. For example, case in point, I asked my VA liaison, hey, do you think I should take my medical records in with me to the exam? No, 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 no. You don't need to do that. They have all that. You don't need to do that. So when I went to my VA exam, and the gentleman started asking me questions. I said, "Do you mind if I refer to my notes because I have a hard time with memory? So you mind if I refer to my notes and communicate because I want to make sure you get everything that you need to get into your record because this is my story." And he said, "Yeah." So as I started explaining to him what I wrote down, He said, "Can I see a copy of that? Can I see a copy of your medical records? And do you mind if I make a copy? This is all that I need to really write my report. Thank you so much." Long story short, had I not done that, had I not took the time to develop it and to really advocate for myself, I probably would not have been able to go through that process successfully. So that was my experience in the medical board. Is it is not one that is for the weak-hearted. You have to be on top of your game. Now, I will say that when I left the military, I thought I was on top of the world, man. I went to I had my job. I got a decent paying job, and everything was going well, right? My family's taken care of. That feeling of like, oh my gosh, I'm leaving the military, I'm leaving all my friends, I'm leaving the camaraderie. I don't have work. No, I found a job, so I'm good. But where the challenges came in is at work, where there was anger issues, and then there was issues with not being able to really manage and deal with some of the approaches that they were handling, how they were handling situations at work. And so I felt the old school, Spearman coming out saying things that wasn't appropriate to say at work. Like, for example, calling my manager inept to his face, which was not the best thing to do when I look back. So that experience was, I thank God that I had that experience, because it led me to where I'm at now. I left that job, had a hard time struggling, didn't really know who I was, didn't know who I can become. Key word there. Didn't know who I could become. I locked the dude who I am away. It's because everyone was saying, "Oh man, you're too aggressive. Oh man, you got too many ideas. Oh man, just put that dude away." And I locked him away on the behest of everyone else to make everyone else comfortable. And so, long story short, is that I feel as though that now, going through these experiences, it has helped me. Do I still deal with a lot of some of the issues that led me through a medical board? Absolutely, every day.
But
But
what made you want to go the entrepreneurial route? Was it something that was burning from inside?
it was a calling. I remember sitting on the side of my bed talking to my wife, because she was like, "You cannot, like, we gotta pay bills." And I said, "Honey, I know, but I have a calling. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I feel as though like I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to advocate. I'm supposed to teach. I'm supposed to help veterans at least review their medical records, so this way they know what to say when they talk to a VSO." And so that in itself was the first challenge, because I had to challenge myself to say, can I do this? Am I able to do that? And that brought up a lot of questions, right? Doubt and fear, and then then I then I had to present that opportunity to my wife, who was like, "What are we talking about, bro? Like, no, wait, what? You just left the military, now you don't have a job, and now you want to start your own business?" But it was something that I had to do, and I'm doing it. So what led me there was the failures, and you and I both know. I've talked to you about some of these. You saw me with these failures. I want to start this, I want to start that, and not being clear on what the mission and vision is. Right? There was no clarity. But I've learned through walking through the experiences of failing. Not that I'm a failure, but some of these things may not have come to fruition the way I wanted to, has given me the confidence to continue to take the next step. And that applies to those who are going to the medical board. That applies to a veteran who's filing for VA disability and been denied 20 million different times. Is what is the next step? You're not the failure. The VA has failed to see what you're saying. We need to figure out a way to get them to see it. And that process is designed in a manner to help you do it, be it through going through the regional office, be it going through the Board of Veterans Appeals, even all the way up to the Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims. you can continue as long as you are willing to fight, which means, and I'm gonna shut up after this, which means that we need to be able to continue that militaristic attitude of I'm a warrior and I'm going to continue to get what I deserve because I'm entitled to it, not because my buddy got it. It's because I deserve it. And being a veteran has a lot, it means is a special word to me. Anyway, I'm done.
And but one thing I realized, like, we have to be militaristic in a way, but I know from my experience that honey is going to get me a lot more bees than vinegar is. And I know, like, when I go talk to my VSO, I go there with respect. I don't go there angrily. I know that for every VSO, there's probably 3,000 veterans to every one VSO. And I know when I go sit in front of the board, I know that how I treat them is how I'm going to be treated back. And I know a lot of guys or girls, they go in front of the board, they're angry, they're pissed off, which I get. I understand that. But you're one of the many that they're going to see that day. So you have to kind of give a little grace, I think, in order to get grace. What are your thoughts?
I 100%, I believe in that. I think that's what empathy is about, understanding the other side of the fence. I think what I was trying to communicate there was that though we are not giving ourselves grace,
yes,
when going through that experience, right?
Yep.
Some of us allow the doubt, fear to take over. And therefore that creates the anger that shows up when we are in front of the board. So at this stage of the game, what I'm saying is that we need to find that fire that's within, that warrior spirit. But a warrior, if we really think about a warrior, he or she is strategic.
Yeah.
They are not necessarily just coming out guns a-blazing and swords a-blazing. They're assessing their opponent. They're looking at their opponent. They're figuring out the weaknesses, the stress of, you know what I mean? So become that inner warrior. So this way you can have empathy of understanding what they are going through, what a VSO is going through. Absolutely 100%. They are overwhelmed. They are overwhelmed. But if you give them that honey, such as, hey, I took the time to develop and put together my entire medical packet. I took the time to write out exactly what I'm filing and why I'm filing it. Could you just review this to help me think and give me pointers to make sure if I'm on the right track? Many times a VSO will be like, man, thank you for doing that. I was a VSO once. I know how that goes. Instead of a veteran coming with 50,000 pages, it's like, yo, fix it. No, it's really about helping them help you. And then if we treat the VA the same way, and anyone for real, in business, in our personal lives, helping someone to help you would make your situation a lot better. My wife told me, we were talking the other day, and I was like, you know what I've learned? If people like you, they will break their backs to help you in any way that they can. But if you come off like, and I've learned this, if you come off with an attitude and people don't really want to work with, you're just very angry and frustrated all the time. Many people don't want that in their lives. So,
but but I think, like, what you're saying also is you have to take part in your own healing. That like, for me, I knew about 6 months ago, maybe 5 months ago, I had to go in front of the board again. So I went to your YouTube channel and I watched almost every single video that you ever made. And it gave me the wherewithal when I go sit in front of the board. There's certain words that they're looking to hear. There's certain sayings, there's certain things, buzzwords that they're looking for. I mean, and you're not trying to trick the game, but it's kind of like a social media algorithm. There's certain things that's going to trip the algorithm, and I think it's the same thing when you're going to sit in front of the boards and stuff like that. Is that what you're talking about?
I mean, yes. I mean, and so when we talk about that, what are those buzzwords, right? So The key thing is, like, again, the medical board and the VA disability process is all about symptomology, symptoms. The veteran, the service member, is a credible witness to their symptoms, to talk about their symptoms, such as pain, for example. And that's law. That's law. So what we're saying here is, like, those buzzwords is, what is this? What are your symptoms? For example, I spoke with a veteran about a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him, "What was your symptoms for this particular conditions?" And he was like, "Oh, it just got worse." That is not, when we present that to the VA and go in front of a board or go in front of a CMP examiner, we have to think like they do, like a doctor. Well, what do you mean it got worse? Worse how? How severe is it? How frequency? What is the frequency of it? Are you taking medications? Are they helping? What medications? Are there any side effects of that medications? Did you get any other x-rays or exams or MRIs? Those are the types of buzzwords that they're really looking to see about your experience, that you can point to the medical evidence that proves your situation. So I think it's really all about, really tie our job is to tie and connect the dots for them. Now, when you went to the board, I'm quite sure you had to connect the dots for them. You had to show them, correct?
Yeah, and I mean, I actually went to the point where I bought my medicine bottles with me. So, like, my medicine bottle says for anxiety, for mood disorder. So this way, you can't tell me, well, he doesn't have PTSD if he's on medication for mood disorder. It's kind of like, okay, well, how can it be that I don't have this when you have me on medication for this? But
Right.
if I didn't have the bag of medicine that I showed them, they wouldn't have been like, okay, I get it. If I would have just told them, yeah, I'm taking medication for depression, they would have been like, okay, next, move on.
Right. Right. We're going to deny this, or we're going to rebut it, or whatever.
Yeah.
But you're right. So yeah, I would agree with you. I hope that it went well. I hope your board went well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm at 80. I'm at 80%. We're still trying to go for 100. I'm still trying, because now the diabetes is not getting any better. I'm legally blind in one eye, and I don't know if that's grounds for 100% or not.
Yeah. Legally blind, that's a loss of use, loss of an organ type of situation. So, but if you I mean, diabetes, obviously, there's just ways that you can, demonstrate through medical literature
Yeah.
how that works. But yeah, man, that right there is the type of work, the strategic type of work that veterans, I think, may want to consider. And now here's the other side of the story, though, um, Rich. I think what veterans are asking for out of advocates, and if you don't mind, I would like to go there for a second. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely.
I think what veterans are asking for out of advocates is to be seen. They are asking to be heard, and that they are asking for us to come to the table with a strategic plan that will help them to win. When this debate about non-accredited and accredited, I don't get into that debate. But the fact is that what the reason why many veterans are going to a non-accredited example shop is because I believe personally that there were some things that we were missing on the accredited side, such as they want flexibility in in a follow-up. They want you to call back. They want it to be like, hey, did you file my claim yet? Like all the questions that they are left with, that's an experience that they some of them may not want. And on the VSO side, as someone who was a VSO for a minute, I understand the struggles because of all of the pressure that comes along with being a VSO. You don't have time to really dig through the record. You pretty much tell me what you want to file, I ask you some probing questions, and I send you, pass you on. that experience is something that I think veterans are looking for, a different type of a scenario. So we as advocates need to listen to what veterans want and understand that most of them now, we're coming into the GWAT era. Some of them are still working, they have a family, right? Like we need to be flexible. And we also, and they're becoming more technologically savvy with AI, right? So the jig is up, guys. We are going to need to really dig in and know and hone and perfect our craft to the point where we can help them, even with using AI, to be able to win. So,
Well, even like when I worked with Lisa Hearing, she even told me hire a lawyer, hire somebody that has skin in the game, because if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. And I think that's one of the reasons a lot of people will go to somebody like VetCom. They'll go to a place where, okay, it's pay to play, but now you actually have skin. You actually have skin in the game. They have skin in the game, so they're gonna take that phone call instead of that VSO that has 3,000 other veterans that's literally drowning, doing the best that they can. So I think there's two sides to every story. I think that if you can afford it, I would definitely think about going with a pay to play. I would say, I don't know the right word is, like somebody like VetCom, or somebody that can, a lawyer, a veterans advocate lawyer that can get you the paperwork that you need in front of people, instead of just being another one of the stacks of thousands.
I agree, and I would say, let me break down the accredited side, and then I'll talk about the unaccredited, the consulting companies, right? So with the accredited side, there's the VSOs, there's the VA accredited claims agents, and then there's the attorneys. We all can file claims, initial claims. We all can do supplementals. We all can do high level reviews. The way that it's structured, however, is that attorneys and VA accredited claims agent, was many people don't really know what a VA accredited claims agent is, but and that's my mission, to really make sure that people understand that. But we cannot charge a fee for initial claims. Initial being, I want to file for an increase, I want to file for a secondary, I want to file, we can only work in the denial realm, and the VSOs generally handle most of those initial claims, which works well because this way they can go in and file it. And if there's a problem, if they get awarded, great. If it's a problem, they can come over to our side. I think where with inside of the accredited side, there's a bunch of paper mills and people who are just filing claims and not developing strategies. I believe that a more boutique, very personalized situation is better. Why? Because if you want that personalized attention, a large paper to mill firm on either side may not be what you want. And what's the benefit of a personalized approach? Well, we get access to the VBMS system. Some people say, well, so what? The VBMS is the Veterans Benefit Management System that allows us to not only look at your complete claims folder, but also we could see the notes that the raters have written about your case. Why is that important? Because then we can take those notes and see what they said if we have to file an appeal and argument, and use that information for perhaps the benefit that will make you win. So for example, if I filed for, let's just say I filed for, I don't know, let's go with a back kink, like back, back secondary to knee issues, right? But then but then if the VA says, well, let's do an exam for back secondary to his shoulder, which they will I've seen that. And then it's like, well, wait, how did we get there? I didn't file for a back condition secondary to my shoulder. I filed for a back condition secondary to my knees. Now there's an argument because I can see inside of the VBS system where they went wrong, because the veteran didn't claim that. You decided to create a ask for a medical opinion in a CMP exam based on something other than what the veteran had asked. That's the problem. So those are the ways that we can get in, and that's the benefit of working with someone who has access to that system. And there's a process to get access to that system, and that process is through accreditation. I, for one, believe that veterans have a choice. If they so choose to use a consulting company, that's great. If they so choose to use an accredited claims agent, that's great. Either side, though, you need to have a strategy for one, and you also need to have some level of looking inside of the system to see what's going on to develop a strategy to win. And also, if you don't win, fight based upon law, not what we see in in some of these Facebook groups. Law. So
So if somebody has been in the system for a while, how do you get how do you even get a hold of your medical records if they've been in the VA system for a long time? How do you get a hold of your medical records?
well, they have to file a Freedom of Information Request Act, so fill out a FOIA form, and once they fill it out, they submit it, and then the VA will send them a CD with all of their claims folder information. The challenge with that is how long it takes. I did that before I became accredited, and it took me almost a year and a half before I got my actual claims folder. Key point for those who are getting off active duty right now: if you file your BDD claim, I would recommend that you go in and fill out a file for your FOIA request. This way, you have access to the original CMP exam. This way, if there's anything else that happens, you know what was in and said about you inside of that CMP exam. So how do you get it? You fill out the FOIA request. They'll take their time to get it to you. You'll finally get on the CD. That'd be one way. The other way is you can go into, if you're being seen by the VA,
Yeah,
you can
which I
go
am.
into the
Yeah.
VA and request a copy of those records, request a copy of those records from the Capri system, and then they generally will go in and print off a copy for you. For every time I go to the VA in Seattle, I request any medical records to be, because I want to go and get them and have them in my possession. Did I
Okay.
answer your question?
Yeah, because I got my next appointment. I mean, I know my medical record. She looks up my medical records every time I'm there. I just don't have a copy of them. So I didn't
Yeah.
know if she could make a copy of it while I'm there.
The other way is when you work with an accredited person, they'll be able to show you what's there inside of the record, because even though you have the access to the system, you'll be able to at least say, hey, look, because I had a client sit next to me. I'm like, look, man, this is what it says. This is your information. This is what they're saying about you. This is the plan of action of how we are going to not adjudicate, but appeal this particular claim.
Okay, so now we got like 10 minutes left, and I know you wanted to talk about little bit about business.
Mm-hmm.
So how important is it? Like when you came to me, we put a plan together, and you've outshined the whole plan. You kicked ass on the plan. But how important is it if you're going to start a business to have a mentor, to have somebody, a coach that's going to teach you the things that you don't see, to help you get out of your own way.
Yeah, I mean, key word there, or key statement, is to get out of your own way. It is. I think it's very important, because this journey is one that you are alone in many ways. You are the CEO, you're the CFO, you're the CTO, you're the technology person, you're the COO, you're the operations guy, you're the marketing, you're all of this. And so it's very hard for someone who may have never ever ran a business before to just jump in and be a business guy, right? I thought that. I thought, oh, I got a degree in business, I'll be fine. They do not teach you how to start a business and run a business. And it goes well beyond, just having a business plan. It starts with you. It starts with you knowing you and your strengths. I read the book Strength Finder, and that book helped me to identify my top qualities and characteristics, and it helped me identify my weaknesses. So by knowing that, knowing that it starts with me, how can I talk to a coach about some issues if I don't know me first? And so I go to a coach for clarity to help me see something that I may have not, I just can't see, and to get out of my own way. Case in point, I remember coming to you and like, man, I just don't understand. Like, you know, what do you mean I got to make sure everything is aligned? What do you mean I got my website and my YouTube channel have to have the same name? What do you like? It doesn't matter. Like, it does. All those things matter, because if one section in one social media you're talking about I do this, and in another social media you're talking about I do this and this and this, you don't want confusion in the minds of potential clients who need your help. So be of service to yourself first, and then reach out, because if you reach out to a coach who's going to try to help you, but you still scrambling and out there flapping, it's going to be hard for that coach to try to help figure out where you are. You got to have some knowledge base. From my experience, right? It was hard for the coaches, not you, but the couple other coaches I had before you, to help me solidify what the plan was, because they asked me questions. And then I eventually got to where I needed to be, but they're the ones who pointed me to the books. They're the ones who pointed me to the YouTube channels, David Goggins and all those guys, to really hone in on who I am first. And then once I got that, then I was able to talk to them about a strategy, a clear strategy with clear messaging.
But now tell me, because I remember the conversation. Me and you were sitting and we're talking, okay, because we're like, all right, are we going to go forward with this? And then I said, I want you to go. I want you to go home. I want you to talk to your wife. I want you to pray together, and then come back. And if it's a go, we'll go. So how important it is to have your soulmate to be on board with what you're doing, because I believe if you don't have that hard conversation now, 6 months later, you're going to have an even harder conversation.
Oh yeah, it's 100% important. It's called change management. You ever heard of change management? Like pro side change management is change management, because what happens is you have to become aware, and they have to be aware of what you're doing, and then have a desire to get on board with what you are doing. But you need to know, what is the knowledge that I have? What knowledge do I have in order for me to really pull this off? If I don't have the knowledge, how can I pull this off? I need to go grab that knowledge. So having that conversation first with yourself, I keep going back to yourself, is the best way to present and convince someone else to get on board with the program. And that first person is in my case, is my wife. Like, I had to sit down and talk to her, like, and she's like, which is what led me to reach out to you. Actually, when I was not clear, the message was not clear. Women have a way of figuring that out. They're like, that doesn't sound clear. So I was trying to explain to her my story and what I wanted to do. And she's like, you seem like you're lost. You seem like you don't know what you want. I think you need to go talk to someone. And that's when I reached out to you, and I got some clarity, right? Like, that's the benefit of having a coach. That's the benefit of you having a soulmate who can help you, tell you to your face, you seem like you're lost. And you're not going to take me on this lost venture, bro. You go in and get that tightened up first, and then I'll see if I can get on board. Now that my business is it's clear, I know where we're going. I know who I'm helping. The messaging is clear. She's on board. Like, hey, I'm willing to help. I now know, and I see it myself. But you have to see it. That's the piece.
And so, I just want you to tell, because I know we're getting down to the hour. I want you to tell the success story that you just told me about one of your clients that has Parkinson's, and how he's doing, how they're doing now that they've worked with you.
And his story is so fantastic. This brother has, like, he was denied, fought with the VA, went out and found his own medical literature, presented it to the doctor, CMP examiner said, "Yep, I see what you're talking about, and you're right. You should be." He did, operations over in Afghanistan, and so he's like, "No, I need to get this connected." And he fought and fought and fought and finally did, and he got his Parkinson's connected, service connected years back. But now it's like, okay, so what's the next strategy? And so he called me today. We've been working with each other for the past, I don't know, 6 months or so. And after developing a strategy for him and working with him and communicating with him and showing him what's possible and guiding him, not telling him what he can do, guiding him, which is what veterans want, I believe, my opinion, my experience, and guiding him in what his options are and what the best things are for him to say when he goes to the CMB exam. He called me today just before our call and was like, "Bro, like, I just got a letter saying I'm 100% permanent total, and you just don't really realize how much this has, like, impacted my life." To get those calls from a veteran that tells me, like, and I almost broke down and cried myself. Both of us almost broke down and cried because the life-changing events and the struggle of going through that to finally get to that point where you succeeded, and it changes. It is not about the money. For some of these folks, it's not about the money. It's about the financial security that it provides my family. It's about the fact that I can actually take my wife on a trip that I promised her for 20 years. It's the fact that I had no plan for providing education, college education. I had no plan. I had no money for that. And now I have an opportunity to get tuition paid for my kids. That's a lot more. When I hear someone call me and say, "Hey man, I thank you for just helping," it's more than just, and I know we're almost over time, but this I this gets me. It's more than just having the 100%. It's beyond that. It's what it does for their families and for themselves, for the rest of their lives.
So now, if somebody's watching us, how do we get in touch with you? How do we find you? How do we get into your ecosystem and talk about your YouTube channel? Because I love it.
Yeah. So the easiest way is just to go send me an email. I love emails. I respond to emails. Jerome at spearmanappeals.com. Jerome at spearmanappeals.com. My website is www.spearmanappeals.com. Our YouTube channel, we are in the process of restructuring it. It was tailored towards more so towards medical board folks, and so as our business has developed, we are moving it towards helping veterans succeed, and those who want a strategy, those who are willing to put the time in, those who are not willing to rush to kind of hurry up and file. For those types of clients who are still struggling with the VA, trying to get from 90 to 100, or even beyond that, we help. That's where we shine. And so spearmanappeals.com, Jerome at spearmanappeals.com. And then the last thing, to get into our ecosystem, we are coming out with a lot of great stuff, such as every client that we take will have access to a set of many micro courses that will help you to write your personal statement, how to talk to a physician, how to read the CMP exam to find the things that are wrong inside of it, which I'm finding some of the things are wrong. So you get micro courses. You're going to get access to your own private portal where I'll upload documents. I'll have a group. I'll have a podcast that I will be launching here shortly. So you're going to get, it's more than just the representation. It's an experience. It's a family. It's a tribe. So if that's what you want, reach out to us.
I love it, and like I said, you're my prize pupil. You've been kicking ass and taking names, and I'm so proud to call you friend. I just wanted to say that. And guys, if you're listening to this, as you know, I end every episode with, like Joel Osteen says, every morning you wake up, you can make a decision. You want to be a victim, or do you want to be a victor? And like my T-shirt says, today I decide. Today I decide no longer to be a victim of my past, but be a victor of my present and my future. If you guys watch this show every week, you guys are victims. You're no longer victims. You're victors. And I love you guys. And remember that vertical momentum, the only way to go is up. I love you. Jerome, my brother.
Yes,
keep
sir.
Kicking ass and taking names.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity again. I appreciate it.
Give your wife a big old hug and kiss.
I will, for sure.
All right, brother.
All right.
All right. I hope we're done on time.